Welcome to the update 9.0 video. We're going to showcase the new units at this time. So we have the Supreme Being, Demo, Hellflame, Sheltier, and Albedo. These are all the evoed versions, and I'll go over exactly how to get these units. So the new game mode is in Raids. Raids has the Nazarick Library. Nazarick Library Demo is in Act 1. Act 3, you get Blood Vial. You can also get this at the Merchant, and I'll show you the shop. Act 4, you can get Albedo, okay? This is how you get 2 of the new units. Now, in order to get Sheltier, you have to go to Crafting and AINZ, and Sheltier is crafted from Blood Vial, okay? So Blood Vial, Act 3, you get Sheltier. We can also get Blood Vial from Merchant, I'll show that. Supreme Being requires Sheltier and a Demiurge, so yes, you will need 2 copies of Sheltier, Demiurge, and Albedo, okay? It requires one of every one of the new units. So you need 2 of each. And I'll show you why. The mana, death, life, and staff all come from a quest. So for the Supreme Being, you go to quests, you go to trials. And in trials, Supreme Being is right here. Supreme Being has quests. You do the quests, you get the items. You get the items, you finish his trials, and you get the staff, and you can craft AINZ, okay? So overall, you're going to need 2 Demiurges, 2 Sheltiers, and 2 Albedos. For the Merchant is the Overlord raid shop, okay? This is the new shop. You spend your tokens, you can buy the Evo items for the units, the Demon Axe, the Mask, the Lance, and Bloody Vials. So you don't have to farm the Bloody Vials, you can just buy out the 2 Bloody Vials to buy your Sheltiers. Not a bad deal, not a bad grind. It's actually fairly quick as long as you're able to pick up the units. If you guys need a tip for the units, I would take a look at using Priest Over Heaven. Priest Over Heaven has a plus 100% item drop rate if other units are missing, so this might help you out, get a little better. And then if you take that and you combo that with the Greed, it'll help you out, okay? So I wouldn't farm Yggdrasil coins for the Divine Rerolls. I think the Divine Rerolls are kind of trash, I'll be honest with you. So, alright, that's the case for it right now. Let's go straight into showing all the new units and them interacting with each other. So what I'm gonna do is, to make this simple, we're just gonna go straight into test place. Or actually, let's go Ascension, just because he has more HP. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna test it out in the Ascension game mode. Gilgamesh does effectively nothing. And what we can do is we can read through the passives after we kind of see how the little group interacts with each other. I'm not going to add anything other than just the new units. Because typically I think the units are going to come out in bulk and just have some sort of synergy with each other. So just their natural synergy and see if it's worth playing. So let's upgrade them all to the max. So because Sheltier hit max first, we'll go off of her. So this is Sheltier. Her passive is Bloodbath. We have every 2 seconds she heals allies within her range, so she's gonna passively heal everyone else. If the target is AINZ or the units or a bleed unit, the healing is increased to 10% of their max HP. If the unit is AINZ, Sheltier heals him for 25% of his max HP every 2 seconds and extends the duration of his dominion by plus 1 second per tick, up to 10 seconds cap. When she attacks an enemy under bleed, she buffs the bleed. That's essentially what she does. And then she can buff bleed more, so bleed does more damage. That's what she does. Very support-like unit. Next on the list, we have Demo Hellflame, Demiurge. Every 15 seconds, bro just cycles through different things. Different things every 15 seconds. He can deal 100% more range. He gains attack cooldown, attacks a lot faster. He gains damage, dealing double damage, and his basic attacks apply a burn damage over time. Overlord allied units inside the range gain a persistent 25% to core stats, so he buffs them, and they reset on death and are only applied when they're in his range. So this one might be a capitalist thing. I don't know if duplicate applies both. It's worth testing it out. If not, then it might be sovereign. I'm not sure what his best in slot's going to be. I don't know if it's worth playing. When he hits an enemy below 50%, there's a 10% chance to instantly execute the enemy and convert them into a puppet using the victim's current stats. This is an interesting one. I could definitely see this being used in like dungeons if you need to. However, there is Void Mask, but why not both? Why not have a double execute comp at some point? So we'll test it out. We'll see how it looks, but some interesting stuff. Execute is a good mechanic, so very, very much worth considering. All right, and then let's do Albedo next here. So Albedo is whenever an enemy is defeated inside her range, she becomes attached to the allied unit, and while attached, Albedo and the attached unit apply bleed. So she lets your carry apply bleed, whoever's getting the kills. If the default bleed value is not provided by the engine, the applied bleed will deal 20% of the attacker's damage per second for 5 seconds. When Albedo or her attached ally attacks an enemy, compare the following stats literally: damage, attack cooldown, range, and HP. If the enemy is higher, it's a seduce. And then the seduce applies HP and gives a bonus. I think the big takeaway from Albedo with all this like random trash here for paragraphs is that whoever kills, she jumps on and she applies bleed. So maybe Capitalists might be nice for more copies of Albedos to work on their own independently for your carries. So very possible that it might be worth using. So very curious to see exactly how that goes. Alright, and last but not least, we have AINZ. AINZ applies Dominion, tags enemies, tags the enemies. When enemies dies, stacks damage, gets the tags, saves the tags. He can like kind of flip enemies too. But once he saves the tags, he gets these fallen down stacks, and the fallen down stacks is his current damage, whatever that damage is, times fallen down stacks to all enemies. So it's a giant nuke. That's the bottom line for AINZ. Alright. Giant nuke, saves up tags, that's what he does. So overall, it's very interesting. I think these units will have a better impact in the future. You know, healing is something that is not been experimented with enough in the game, primarily because you have units like this, the enemy, that only does like 5k damage. Like, this guy does garbage for damage. Dio is like... Dio doesn't do anything, man. Enemies like this are useless, right? So enemies are currently just sandbags in ARX. So maybe in the future, healing will have its place in the meta, and we'll actually see a little more interaction. I don't know. The Supreme Being's base damage is kind of lackluster. I'm curious to see in the future when I play around with like Griffith or something, or how it's worth using. But for right now, I don't know if this is the play when it comes down to clearing content. Like, this looks like it's something better suited for a future game mode. So overall, the units, not too hard to get. The grind, not that bad. Overall, for the update, guys, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10, maybe a 7, but we'll keep it at a 6. I think I don't want to overly glaze anything. It's just, it is what it is. We'll call a spade a spade. So bottom line is, the units, fairly simple to get. Very vanilla type of update where you drop the units, you farm the units, you get the units, and that's it. There's nothing too impressive. I think the rebalancing is okay. I do agree with the polls. It is very confusing because no one understands kind of like the direction of the rebalancing, how they're breaking down the tiers of damage. So the game owes a lot still. I think the devs still owe a lot in terms of making sure the game runs smooth. Right now we still have the bugs with the trait rerolls. For some reason it's skipping over stuff. The trait rerolling is very slow, extremely slow, and so is the cursed rolls. It's just not good. The auto rolling system right now is really bad. So yeah. Overall, like I said, 6 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you haven't yet, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all the support. And I'll definitely see you guys in the next update. And stay tuned for the upcoming video for the Ascension Guide. Take care. You guys have a good one.